I began my 13th week with a day off in Santa Fe, New Mexico. My host had given me a couple of recommendations for the day, so I made the short walk to the plaza, where I hung around for a couple of hours, just enjoying the weather, people watching, and listening to some of the street music. Later that afternoon, I went to go check out Meow Wolf, which was a super cool and unique art experience. I had a lot of fun getting lost in that bizarre place. It seemed like every time I thought I had seen everything, there was always another door that led to yet another crazy room full of lights and odd setups. Between the relaxing stop at the plaza and the somewhat otherworldly experience at Meow Wolf, Santa Fe was definitely a fun time. From the city, I headed north on my way to Colorado. After a big climb right out of the gate, I sat back and enjoyed more than a dozen miles of downhill as I left Santa Fe behind. It was a super fun time cruising down on the frontage roads alongside Route 84, especially with the great views I was getting. After about 40 miles or so, I began to leave the towns behind, which was really cool. I was passing through a really beautiful, rugged area, and I loved being able to see the huge difference in comparison to the other places I have already biked through. I was getting hills at that point, and my knee was still bothering me a little, but I took my time and was able to get along without aggravating it too much. After 70 miles on the road, I reached the Echo Amphitheater outside of Abiquiu, New Mexico. It was a really cool thing to see, and I had fun hanging around the small park and hearing my echo bouncing off the sandstone walls. I was even able to camp out at the park, which was awesome. I set out the next morning with a full day of riding ahead of me. Right off the bat, I had 9 miles of a sloping climb that definitely woke me up. From there, my day was full of long, challenging hills and a lot of crazy downhill rides. I ended up doing about 90 miles from Echo Amphitheater to Pagosa Springs, Colorado, and that ride definitely felt like I passed through the most I ever have in any one day. It was a very difficult stretch of road, but I think that the incredible views and the few times where I was careening downhill at 30 miles an hour helped balance it out. I ended up asking my sister to give me a lift from Pagosa Springs because my knee was still giving me issues with the hills, especially once the wind started picking up around mile 70. With me being so close, it didn't make sense to me to risk another day of hills, so thankfully she was able to come out to Pagosa Springs and drive me the 45 or so miles to Bayfield, Colorado. My sister breeds and shows toy chihuahuas, and so her house is absolutely full of the crazy little guys. Over the next 2 days, I spent most of my time just hanging around the house and playing with the dogs. Each of them have their own big personalities, and they provided hours of entertainment, especially the little puppies. On my third day in Colorado, my sister and her husband took me on a day trip into the mountains. To me, it was incredible how easily we traveled from Bayfield, about 7,000 feet above sea level, to north of 10,000 feet into the San Juan Mountains. They took me up along the winding roads to the small town of Silverton, where I got to check out the old railroad station and where we grabbed lunch before continuing on to Ouray, another tiny town in the mountains. It was an awesome drive and a lot of fun to get out and walk along the main streets of the towns. I was really happy that they were able to take me, because it was incredible to me to see these little places nestled in amongst the mountains, seemingly so far removed from the outside world. I wouldn't have been able to get up to these places otherwise on my bike, so I was very grateful that we took the trip. June 30th is the end of my 13th week and also the end of my 3rd month on the road. It's been a low-key day, just sitting back and planning the next stage of my trip. I'll be heading west to get to the corner of Utah before angling southwest towards the Grand Canyon. I still don't know which roads I'll take to get there, but I'm sure I'll figure something along the way. I just know that the idea of tackling Arizona during July doesn't sound all that exciting, but one day at a time.